Welcome to the Christian Shepreneur channel. It's your host, Angel Santos. And today I really just want to riff, if you will, on what's possible, because I don't talk about this enough. I think over the years, I've just been so committed to teaching you the how. And I have realized that if you don't believe, decide, accept as true that you can, you won't ever get to the how, right? So it won't take me another 10 years to really understand that. And so, if you will, I just want to talk about what is possible in 2025, 2026, and so on and so on. What God has made possible for his daughters, for daughters of the kingdom, for women who love him. All the ways that we can earn money from our home, from our couch, from our bed, from our home office, which I am now, right? With our loved ones, our pets, etc. Kobe! You all know. Kobe! We have a special guest, apparently, this episode. Come here. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. So let me tell you. Now, a lot of you I know are, hi, sweetie pie. A lot of you are actual moms, and some of you are like me and just fur baby moms. But it really does make such a difference to be able to work from home, to be able to go to doctor's appointments when you need to without having to always ask for permission, because you get to create your schedule, be able to take trips with family, meet your husband for lunch and have an extended lunch, go to Mardell, like the Bible bookstore, like just all the work from Barnes and Noble or the library, if that's something that you like to do, like I do, right? It really does make a difference. And I know sometimes that when people talk about something that sounds aspirational or like, oh yeah, that's good for you, but what does this have to do with me? I was you. I was you too. And this has nothing to do, by the way, with COVID. 2013, I was working in a nonprofit, really enjoyed my job, and great money. I enjoyed so much about that job. And I remember that it was an all-female team, and I remember asking for a Friday off because my mom and sister were going to go run some errands for the sanctuary. I think we had an event coming up, and they just called to let me know, and I wanted to go. And so I asked my boss, could I leave early? And please understand, if it was something, thank you so much for coming. You're such a good boy. If it was something where I shouldn't leave or, urgent, I wouldn't have even asked, but it wasn't. Like, for the most, like my job, I was a technology and marketing project manager. And the thing about when you work in an office setting, it's like, sometimes you're there, right? Like, what I remember is that, like, yes, there are things that you have to do, but because I've always tended to work pretty quickly, I wasn't typing all 9 hours of the day when I was in their office, or all 7 hours of the day when I was in their office, right? So what I'm saying is they could have let me go. Like, it wouldn't have hurt anyone if I left. Nothing was going to be not due if I left early. But she said no, because I don't know why. I think it's because they were all there, and that's just the way of an office job, is for you to be there. And I remember at that time, I wasn't familiar with the coaching industry. I wasn't familiar. I do remember in college, I had looked up different ways to earn money. I remember I had did some surveys to earn like a few dollars. I remember getting some waffles and some other things to taste in the mail, because they sent them like free, like that dry ice. I remember getting some waffles and some other things to taste and give my feedback to earn money when I was in college. So I do remember having a history of looking for ways aside from like your regular job to earn money, but it hadn't went very far, right? It's only so much money you're going to get paid tasting a waffle or a new chip or granola bar, right? And so I didn't know about these other ways to make like real money, like consistently, legitimately enough to replace your day. Okay, I'll let you go. Thank you. Thank you so much. I just wanted you to say hi to everyone. Okay, thank you. I'll give you a treat after this, okay? I didn't know about the different ways then, right? So 2013, I remember thinking one day I'm going to have a job where I can leave early on Fridays. That is the extent of what I thought possible. Because at that time, the way I was raised, nothing wrong with that. You go to school and then just high school, middle school, then you go to college, should you choose, then you get a job, and then at some point you retire, right? And then of course you serve God, of course, along the way, and then eventually you die and you go to heaven. This is my life plan, right? This was my life plan, and seemed very logical. Nothing wrong with it. And I could not have imagined then, because I just didn't know what's possible now. And I'm taking the time to tell you this because I want you to understand that I get it. Because there are some coaches, nothing wrong with this, but there are some coaches who were independently wealthy before they became a coach. And so the way they market is they show this lifestyle of like luxury and private planes and this and that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But they often don't disclose until you're like deep in their program that they had that before they became a coach. So you know what I'm saying? Like it was from family money and different things, which again, that's beautiful if you have that, right? But to not disclose that in their marketing can cause you to think, oh, this person has built this from scratch. And so that doesn't, to me, like a person like that doesn't relate to me as much as someone who, like my godmother calls me, literally built my business from scratch, right? My student loans was more than my house, right? So it's not like I was just this independently wealthy person who just, put a lot of money into a business, right? No, I literally I started a nonprofit, right? Because my day job, although it was interesting and I enjoyed it, I just had a desire. God gave me this desire to start a nonprofit, right? And I started it in my TV job. So I used to work for ABC 13, and I started my nonprofit there, and then I left TV after 2 years to focus on my nonprofit, and it didn't make any money. Not a lot. It made a couple hundred. And so that third year I got a job, which is what I had. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'll just have a job and then have my nonprofit until I make enough in my nonprofit. So I'm definitely not thinking like the job that I had then in 2013. Like I'm just thinking at some point I will have a job, because you need that to pay your bills, to leave early. I'm not thinking that my, basically a few years later, my nonprofit would be like reshaped into a business that would replace and then exceed the amount I ever made in my day jobs, right? When you're not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I don't have any necessarily special certifications, right? I do have a coaching certification. I sell a virtual assistant certification. But when I made my first, in 2017, when I got to 2 to 3K months from coaching, I didn't have a certification. Do you know what I had? I had a talk with God. In June 2016, I had a conversation with someone, and she was telling me about how her daughter could be a coach, and how she was telling her daughter, yeah, coaches make great money. I had just learned about coaches, and I was wanting one to help me with my nonprofit. And I was like, yeah, they do. They're so helpful. And even though her daughter had nothing to do with coaching, I was like, yeah, she could be a coach. And I remember thinking that about her daughter, not because it was anything about her daughter that stood out to, be a good coach, but just because why can't someone do something, Like, I believe that we're capable of doing things. Like, we were made in the image of God. God is the ultimate creator, the creator of all creators, the creator of creation, right? So then we are we have possibilities. We can create. So yes, you can be one. And it wasn't, I kid you not, until God told me later, you could be a coach. I had never thought of this. Remember, in 3 years, my nonprofit on the side of my day job has made $535, right? The reason I left TV was to go all into my nonprofit, but it didn't make, enough money to, pay me. So I had to needed a job, right? So this is why I was this technology project manager. So I am not thinking I can be a coach. I'm thinking I need one. And when God said that, do you know how I responded? I could be a coach. And I remember saying out loud, I'm a coach. And that's the only certification I had. My certification was a conversation with God. Right? And so I just jumped in. Within 3 months, I had my first paying client. Within 6 months, so by the end of 2016, I had made my first $2,000 in this revamp of my business. By 2017, or let me say going into 2017, because I started off with my first one-day event against the advice of my coach, right? Because she was like, you don't have a community. No one knows you. You don't have an audience. I told her I'd build one. This was October 2016. So January, February, March 2017, I was making $2,000 to $3,000 from coaching. Same as my day job. Was able to leave it and now have Fridays off. So did you follow the story? I went from 2013 just having a desire to leave my job early to go on an errand with my family for our sanctuary, to just about 4 years later having Fridays off because I got to make my schedule, because I got to be paid for helping women avoid the mistakes I made. Because see, in my day job, I knew how to help companies. I knew that. That's what they paid me for. But in my own nonprofit, I didn't have a product. I didn't want to sell anything. I had all these conflicting feelings about charging and money, and I only wanted to just serve. I only wanted to help. That was the fun part, right? But then being burnt out is not very fun either. And then by 2017, like, my job was, just so you can kind of see visually, was to get paid to make resources like this, to just help, to get paid to make trainings that women can watch and avoid the mistakes I made, that they can get it right from the start, that they can turn what they know into income from home. So whether you have chronic fatigue or any type of health condition or whatever it is, right? You can adjust your entire lifestyle and make more, eventually make more than you ever have. This is what's possible. This is what's available to you if you're willing to be open. My prayer is that I've done a good job, a sufficient job to communicate what's possible, because it's not right for me to know this information and not share it as much as I can. I must share it. It's like Jesus, right? We don't hold, just for this morning, you don't light a candle and put it under a bed. You don't cover it up. Like, Jesus is the best thing that has ever happened to us, right? We must share that whenever we can, wherever we can, however we can, right? The ability to earn money from what you know. Okay, I printed, let me just share. Let me just share some like the details and then we're going to wrap this up. I printed this from a home computer. Now you can print it from Office Depot, but I printed this from a home computer. HP charged me at the time $4.99 for ink. You know, you have the membership. So let's just say this cost me 10 cents, right? 10 cents, okay? The USB, which I buy in bulk, let's just say it cost me, and I'm being on the expensive side, $1, right? Let's just say it cost me $1, which I'm, you know, I like my deal, so I highly doubt it cost me $1. Bought these in bulk too. I'm going to be on the expensive side because I bought them in bulk and I have so many. So let's just say it costs $1. I really doubt it, but let's just say it costs $1. So $1, $2, 10 cents. This program sells for $99. Now sometimes I sell it digitally, right? So it's basically free. Like the software that I'm hosting it on costs me $50 a month, but it runs my entire business. So when I sell it digitally, it's basically all profit, right? When I sell the hard copy like this, which I do in events and people can order it if they desire to, this is $2.10 to make this, and I sell it for $99. That's a profit of $97. Do you see the possibilities? You sell 10 of these a week. That's $1,000. You do that 5 times in a month. You just do it weekly, right? That's $5,000. It's 50. I'm not doing this math. We're not doing this. Oh, okay. It's $1,000 per week, 52 weeks. Okay, thank you, Jesus. I was like, I'm not doing math. $52,000 a year. Just imagine that. You can make, it's possible. I'm not saying quit your job today and tomorrow this is going to happen. I'm saying if you're willing to put in the work and learn the skills, which I've packaged neatly for you in a program, by the way, so you don't have to figure out anything on your own. I literally hold your hand every step of the way. So you never have to go back and forth. You never have to be overwhelmed like I was, where you're crying because people keep throwing random information, but they won't actually give you an answer. And so you're like, what do I do? So let me just, one product. If you were willing to invest in yourself, and learn the skills, the systems, and the strategies, right? You could take something you already know, something that God has already given you. Normally, this is an area that you already help people in, right? You've probably been doing it for free for years, right? It could also be a really strong interest or passion. You package that, you put that, you turn that into a product. You can sell that product. Let's just say you create one that you sell for $99. You find every week, your mission is to find 10 people to help. Because that's what your product does. It helps someone. That's the whole purpose. It solves the problem, right? That's $52,000 a year. One product helping 10 people a week. And that's not adding on anything else. Let's just say, y'all, like, is anyone else getting excited? Let's just say that you add on an option once they get this because they're enjoying it and maybe they have questions. Isn't that our nature, right? You add on, and this is super low, but I just want to keep the math easy. You can add on 2 30-minute calls, $49 each, right? So they get this, and then they also get 2 calls they can use within 30 days, $49 each. That's another $100. Y'all, when you get to the point where you're selling 10 of those calls, packages, along with this, every month, or maybe you're just selling it as a bundle, right? That's $200 times 10, that's $2,000 times 52 weeks. to take off 2 weeks for vacation. And it's not even like you have to do this full time, because once you get a system working, you're not working full time, by the way. Once you, like, you'll put time in, of course, in the first on the front end. But once you get it running, this is part-time work, you all. Part-time work for $100,000 a year on low-cost products that are helping people. If you add on anything more expensive to help them deeper, it's just more money. Do you see how it works? I'm just letting you know what's possible. There's so many ways. It's so many ways. You can do workbooks that you just put on Amazon. You can do regular books, like you can do subscription boxes like I helped one client do. There are so many possibilities. You can teach a live class. Like, from whatever it is that you already know, an area that you're an expert in currently, an area that you have a deep interest or passion, it can be monetized. You can use it to earn income from home. It will not be immediate, right? For some people, it can take 6 to 12 months. For some people, it can take a couple of years. It won't be immediate, but it will change your life. And it's 100% possible. If you would like, I have 2 resources for you, basically. One is a community where it's called the Prosperous Woman Society, and it's a new community, and it's just with women just like me, just like you. In it, I release devotionals that are, straight from the Bible, but specifically like scripture seeds that we can plant as far as building our business, right? So if you like encouragement and like mini trainings and stuff like that ongoing, I'd love to have you there, and just to be in community with women so you can see other women working toward the same desire that you have. And then the other, which is a bit more urgent and time sensitive, I have a workshop. It's free, coming up on November the 24th. If you are watching this after November the 24th, still click on the link in my description, because I'm planning to host these monthly, because I'm so committed, you all, to helping women take advantage of the opportunities we have before us, right? If you can't tell. So, but if you're watching this before, I have a workshop coming up on November the 24th. That's going to be the first date. So there's a link in the description and you can sign up. It's called From Purpose to Paycheck. That is my desire to share with you how to do it. So in this, I did my best to communicate what's possible. In this workshop, I'm going to go into the how you can do it. And it literally is workshop style. So we will be, getting to work. Thank you so much for watching. And my genuine prayer is that whatever God has had for you in this video is what you heard, and that you continue to prosper first in your relationship with Him, and then in the business that you start and grow, and in every area of your life.